MVP time, and that MVP will be crowned, as he has crowned MVP. His coronation is complete, Baba Smithy. The crucial pick, and that's what happens in this match. If you have two turrets down in the mid lane, and you die that late in the game and they get Baron, they're just going to drive straight down and kill your Nexus.
Death timers are so long. I believe it was a 45-second respawn timer by the time the kill came through. There was a lot of people, Hippo specifically, who could have been the MVP if e-mFire were able to come up with the win, and damned if they weren't close. Four dragons to
close. I'm going to take a look at some highlights here from Crown, forcing Soul out of that engagement.
This was after the fourth dragon was picked up by e-mFire, but this is what it was all about. Soul.
Spooky ghosts, you got hit by the ghosts. That means enough slow that you are going to be chased down.
Too spooky.
Too spooky for me.
A lot of weird interactions happened there, but regardless, Samsung picked up the Baron, and with Corki only now respawning, that was the game.
So very quick finish to a relatively static game with lots of mid grouping. You take the turrets down, and then you walk into mid lane, and then you repeat until the wave comes back on your side of the map. And that is the level of strategy we have in League of Legends at the moment.
It's the start of a season, Monty.
Well, you know what? I hate those minion wave changes. I hate what they do to the game. I want old minion waves back. Riot, please.
Also spooky ghosts.
Also that.
Less spooky, please. Visible ghosts. Friendly ghosts. Casper ghosts. Wait, Wraith's in this game.
Wraith is in this game. But see, he changed from Casper to the much more angry-sounding Wraith.
It's true. And then he started losing a lot, but that was probably because he moved to Samsung.
Perhaps not connected to the ID change. I miss when he was Ice Bear.
Yes. I miss real Foxy.
Oh, Chaser. Why'd you have to change?
And e-mFire is in such a bittersweet position. If you were the e-mFire coach, honestly, you'd kind of tell your team to go up back there and do exactly what you were doing well in game one, and there wasn't really much to minimize. Soul missed position, got too cute, got picked, and the game was over after they'd spent 30 minutes of playing solid, rotational, and objective-focused League of Legends.
I mean, it was a good kill from Crown. He knew that the Corki flash was down, he had his flash up, and he hit the ghost, and that was Corki just a little bit too close, couldn't get out.
Yes, he hit the ghost.
He hit the ghost.
Solid skill shot ghost. Am I in 9,000 range? If yes, press spooky ghost.
Press ghost.
Well, no more Rise this time. Honestly, it felt like Hippo played around the Rise, and in general, e-mFire rotated around the Rise really well. We were complimenting Hippo on the Banner of Command, which really stops any split push shenanigans with Rise, but hey, best to not deal with it this game.
Yeah, the Twisted Fate 2, Crown specialty, he has been the most played champion in solo queue, I believe, and that means if you have a red side counter pick, maybe you don't want to let him have that one. Misfortune banned once more by e-mFire will not be a blue side first pick for them. But we have a lot on the table still. We have Fiora, we have Kindred. Somebody's getting one of these.
Feels like Rek'Sai will be the red side rotational pick unless she's ascended to first pick status. That has been the level that we've seen Rek'Sai contested today. Gangplank's the final ban, e-mFire. Edge was playing that fine. Again, more collateral damage for everything else that happened in the game. And yeah, that's a Kindred first pick.
Kindred first picks. That means that Cuvée does have the opportunity to get the Fiora, which was banned against them. Could be Fiora Alistair here in the first round.
You know what I want to see, Monte Cristo? The champion that Ambition has impressed me on the most and that directly counters Kindred in team fights. I want to see his Lee Sin once again.
The Lee Singer? That would be actually quite interesting.
He's 5-0 in summer season on Lee Sin, then he stopped playing it.
Yeah, that was one of the weirder aspects. His Warrior enchant Lee Sin at a time where people just weren't playing Lee Sin with that particular itemization did surprisingly well.
And then he stopped playing it.
That's true.
He had like undefeated Nunu and Lee Sin, and then halfway through the split was like, well, this is out of the meta. Stop playing it.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So Kindred up first. Probably means that Hippo's going to be playing a tanky top laner, just based on how Kindred operates these days, although you don't have to play Kindred in the jungle. You can play Kindred in mid lane. You can play Kindred AD carry.
I mean, you can.
You can. Whether you're actually going to do that here is unlikely, but still a little bit of a flex pick and something you do have to consider when you see Kindred drafted. Kalista and Thresh, both likely locks, and there we go.
Crush continues identity of being an AD carrier, transported into the jungle role and playing AD carries in that role. Honestly, it worked fine for them in the first game. He was more of a cleanup AD. He was 3-0 at one point, but that wasn't really from aggressive invades like we saw yesterday from Bubbling on Bengi. But we saw the power from aforementioned Bubbling. If you get in there and start trading as level 2 Kindred, you will dominate any of the meta junglers.
So Victor, once again, the selection blind for Crown, meaning that we are going to have Alessandra top lane confirmed, showing both of their solo lanes.
What are they leaving out? They're leaving jungle as a last pick. Maybe we're going to get Spicy from Ambition.
Spicy from Ambition.
I think it has to be Gragas or Lee Sin, though. That's kind of... You need something to deal with the Lamb's Respite from Kindred.
Yeah, you have to have some answer, whether it's displacement or sufficient tankiness. You see Syndra hovered over. That would be our first Syndra of the season, and possibly yet again a Nautilus top lane. And Edge did play a lot of Azir in the last season, but Azir not the strongest pick at this point in time. They're going to go for it, though, so Edge returning to a pick that he saw some success on when he played substitute in Nagne's Shadow on KT Rolster.
I think it's worth returning to a point of, when it comes to champion pools, e-mFire as a new team with players in different roles, they can't be that deep. That's obviously not something we're going to understand from just one series of their play, but you have to think the playbook is pretty shallow from an e-mFire level. We're seeing Nautilus twice, and Ambition. He's not gone for Lee Sin or Gragas, and certainly Rek'Sai has a knock-up, but no displacement to knock champions out of Lamb's Respite. In fact, only Alistar can really do that.
Yeah, you do have the Alistar pick, though, so all is not lost from the displacement angle. And looking at e-mFire, they have so much zone control right now with the Azir and Nautilus to protect the Kindred and Kalista. Excellent team fighting capabilities. We go back to that classic mid lane matchup from late 2015 of Azir versus Victor, everybody's favorite.
Who can clear the most waves?
Well, it's anything like last game. It'll take a while to determine that.
It's true. The winner is not the fans in that one.
No, it's not. It's just turns into the mid ARAM where everybody pokes each other, but nobody actually wins.
Oh, sometimes there's a spooky ghost or 3.
Or, yes, many ghosts for sure. So Kube will be in the top lane on Lissandra this game. A pick which fell all the way through the draft in an unlikely scenario in the first game of this series.
Really balanced team comp from Samsung. I think they're going to want to try and push and just basically have good wave clear in every lane. But as you mentioned, e-mFire in a team fight, especially if they're kiting backwards, how do you ever kill the carries in this team comp?
No, you can't. Not without a flank. It's up to Kube, and he couldn't quite make it work with his CP in the last game. Might have to improve in that regard if he wants to make plays on the back line of this e-mFire lineup. Well, let's get into game 2 of this series right now. e-mFire fighting indeed.
They're fighting for their life in this series, and in general, they're still looking for a sponsor, this org, which doesn't have Najin as a title sponsor anymore. Fans are still with them, and that's a good thing to see.
Yeah, certainly is. And they've pretty much shown up here. You really can't complain with how they went and how things went or how they played in the first game of this series. They kept things very even in a matchup that we thought might be very one-sided when it came to Samsung, but Samsung held on long enough. They had an individual outplay that they were able as a team to turn into a win nearly immediately. Crown's Victor, and he's back on that pick one more time here as everybody sets up at level 1 around the mid lane.
And the exciting thing from our perspective as casters in a very long champion season is that so far we've seen probably the 2 teams that we're expecting to be right at the bottom, Jin Air and e-mFire, and both of them have made for pretty competitive series.
Yeah. Now, whether they can hold up down the stretch is a question, because the strategic...
Look at that head bopping.
That's some nice head banging there. The strategic diversity of some of these newer teams can be discovered, found out, banned out pretty quickly, given enough time from the other team. So first game not always, or first series rather, not always a great indicator. But right now, definitely a stronger start than anticipated.
We can be hopeful. That's what we try and be. As Hippo back on the Nautilus
You
again.
try and be hopeful, Papa Smithy.
I do. I try.
I don't like being hopeful.
You can be very dismissive, Monte Cristo.
Like being realistic. It's all about the brutal truth.
Yeah. Sometimes the brutal truth is a tough pill to swallow, you know?
That's fine. I just open up the audience's mouth and then shove it in there.
Korea always wins.
There you go.
You have been known to pay lip service to Korea, Monte Cristo.
Just a little bit.
Samsung's gone for a pretty elaborate lane swap this game. Still seeing the jungle follow. I kind of wondered where jungle follows were at, given there was experience changes such that you needed a machete or jungle item to actually get the big experience on the large creeps. I thought maybe delaying a camp or two would mean that lane swaps would be tougher to pull out, but for now, jungle follow has been observed by Samsung.
Yeah, we may see some alteration to that as teams get more experience in the new season, but for now, it is the tried and true method of going through these lane swaps. And, you know, we really haven't seen too many lane swaps yet. A lot of standard lanes, or the last series, both teams swapping into the top side.
It was kind of fun at Worlds where Korea had largely avoided lane swaps, specifically European or NA lane swaps throughout the season, and then quickly picked them up, I guess, through a combination of scrims and watching the other games at the highest level. And now, you know, it felt like lane swaps were kind of sussed out by the time we hit Kesper Cup and we're hitting the last of the old patches before the preseason.
Edge in a bit of trouble right here. Ambition doesn't have a tunnel. He's going to actually try and flash for this. Edge walks out of the side, so Ambition not fully committing. There's a barrier on this Azir, so finishing off that kill could have been a challenge, but Kindred now helping in that bottom side. All the gold going over to Hippo for the time being. We'll see on the next wave they will hand over that full gold to Kuve or not.
It looked like they were smartly bouncing the wave back. We expect the same sort of situation here if they're able to cultivate this wave from Samsung.
And it will be lots of money in the bank for Kuve as he perfectly bounces that wave. Very nice.
Oh, that's Skrilla.
Doesn't get much better than that.
What we like to see, turret killing bounce mechanics.
I love it, Papa Smithy. And then we'll see, you know, this Lysandra sit underneath the turret, get some more farm, ward up, as we see, to avoid any kind of dive. And then we'll see perhaps, you know, some more lane pushing. Usually on this patch, how these lane swaps operate is you just swap back immediately and mirror turret kill in the other lane, and then comes the long, dull time of 5-manning mid.
You're missing out on the most fun part where there's that arms race. Who can get Frost Queen's claim fastest in mid?
That's the best part, I guess. Not very appreciative, apparently. But Ambition actually has to flash out. Soul caught under the turret. Not going to take a hit. Wraith a little bit late to the party, but will join up in the end. So now we actually do have some different action right now as Wraith coming up in the top side where we have a 1v1 between the AD carry and Nautilus and bottom. Crown and Edge going head-to-head, but Edge does have that extra Doran's ring right now. That makes it a bit harder for Crown to fight, and he will back off. No offensive summoners either, just heal and barrier.
Should mention that the result of these shenanigans is that Hippo and Core JJ are getting solo experience. So that means that Core JJ theoretically is going to be at a higher level, but with double AD, oh my goodness, Crown just escaping.
Wow, Crown very resolute not to push his heal button or his flash right there. Pretty confident that that wasn't going to kill him.
That's what happens when you play a lot of solo queue. Your mechanics are on point, Monty.
Your knowledge, your feel for the game. But he is going to lose a few minions, tragically.
Tragically.
The great tragedy of League of Legends.
I must admit, I do physically wince when people miss cannon minions. It's kind of, it's awkward.
That's because you're a minion genocide supporter. Think about how many minions die every game. It's actually quite sad.
It's in the service of a good cause.
Oh, okay. Is that how you justify it? The ends justify the means, Papa Smithy?
Not every minion is sacred, but every nexus is.
Okay. It's all about the crystal, huh? Isn't it kind of meaningless at the end? That one crystal shattering is worth thousands of minions' deaths?
Crown actually returns the lane to level 6 Edge.
So you're dodging the question. These are important League of Legends ethics.
Just like my crystals, man. They're shining.
I see how it is.
I'm living in the real world.
The real world of crystals versus minions. Is that what the real world is to you?
That's basically what it boils down to.
Well, we don't have to worry about that quite yet.
The real world? No. I've managed to avoid it for 29 years now.
Good job. We're hiding in esports.
Nailed it.
Oh, man. Poor JJ, that solo experience. Hippo not level 6 yet, and we do see a bit of a dive coming through. Crush is there. Crush doesn't have any mana, though, and that means Core JJ going to dodge the side, finish off the culling. Nicely played by Core. He does take a couple hits. Cuvée there, TPing all the way down to make sure they can secure this turret kill, but that does leave Soul's Callista alone in the top lane. Crown and Edge having a very exciting mid lane battle.
Edge running himself with the mana ultimate.
Love it.
And the unique thing there was it's actually a smart TP from Cuvée because they got all that turret damage in. They're going to eventually take out the turret as well if they so choose, while Callista was just maintaining the wave, denying Cuvée up top. So the teleport, they get a kill, they get an objective, looking like 2 objectives, and Callista's not even punishing them on the minimap at all.
Yeah, and the dragon too, that's, when you have your teleport in the top lane, you do have more control over the dragon. Really nothing they could do with Hippo in that bottom side, and Soul here just trying to keep the wave where he can and bounce it back, but this will be a nice edge. Cuvée getting the solo gold off the turret, maybe even in CS, but now slowly gaining advantages over the enemy top laner.
The argument is the reason why we're seeing so many siege comps. Double AD has been the story in multiple games so far in Champions, is that the global gold from turrets is the biggest win condition or the biggest amplification you can pick up. Before it was getting your 5th dragon stack started, but now because the mid game is so severe where death timers are longer from 10 minutes to about 40 minutes, we just saw in the previous game the power of a pick in the mid game, that when you get that big global team-wide gold from the turrets, it just seems to be so much more highly prioritized over things, over other objectives.
Yeah, and definitely has been the story of this very young season. And patch 524, which a couple days left here, will not be seen in professional play in most of the world.
You're getting something you can't see anywhere else.
Exciting 5.24 action.
Brought to you by OGN.
Until next week. So, while it's, I won't say hot, sort of lukewarm and focused around the mid lane.
Yeah. Hard sell there, Monty.
I do my best. Told you, brutal honesty. It's the way forward. Fans know when you're lying.
For you, it's not that often. You're pretty plain. Some would call you abrasive.
Some might. All right, well, some action in the mid lane now. Wraith trying to wrap around the side. Only level 4, so he's going to take that Nautilus ult and then retreat into the enemy jungle where he is taken out by Soul's Callista. So they tried to make a play onto Azir, but the rest of eMFire there and waiting. Cuvée has been farming up a storm, however, and now has an extremely nice freeze.
Such a really poor time to try and make a pick when Cuvée didn't have teleport and had a massive minion wave.
You know, most of the time you try and make plays around pressure, but right there, no pressure on that bottom side, and they knew, of course, Cuvée wasn't going to be showing up. Instead of just taking that slow advantage of the frozen wave, they get a little greedy and pay for it. Still healthily in the lead, however, and up a turret. And they have plenty of wave clear right now. Gonna play around this top lane. There's gonna be a hook onto Wraith.
Level 4 still.
Yeah, no follow-up sufficient to actually take him out, but they get some nice poke damage down. Core doesn't have the culling to clear out this wave right now, so it's just a little bit of poke here and there and the turret damage.
Should have it for the next minion wave when it crashes into the turret if they go for another hard push, so sounds like they'll keep this.
This is so much farming experience for Cuvée, though. He has kept this way frozen forever.
He's got both turret solo gold, and now he's going to get all this farm. The Rod of Ages timing is going to be really quick at Hippo. He's going to be living on basically the scraps of experience and gold he can pick up after that early 1v1.
Yeah, very different from last game where he had some nice farm up in the top side. Kuve still there, maintaining the freeze.
What a weird world where freezing is once again viable. Freezes were so easy to punish, or so often punished last year, that it's surprising to see a freeze for now go unchecked.
All right, well, or JJ will go ahead and clear this out. Ambition eats the hook, but there's not follow-up. Nice disengage there from Wraith. No real chance for a dive quite yet.
You say this.
Hippo trying to go around the side. Turret is low, but Edge there too. Victor now coming up to join the rest of his troops. Gugur is low. Hippo's going to be actually frozen in the gravity field and punted out, but there's the finisher. Core JJ turns it around as Kuve sits there hilariously.
I want to see the Cuve cam. What's he up to?
I want to see his face.
Yeah, he's just chilling. He's like, this minion is going to be mine. I'm going to auto attack this. Let's see if he gets the cannon. Gets it.
Yeah, baby. Get that cannon.
This is basically the Nasus feels where you're just sitting there being like, I know there's fights going on, but I'm
there
getting
he
stacks.
is.
He's just there. He looked pretty chilled.
He did look pretty chill. He's like, oh no, it's pushing back out now. All my hard minion pruning work has been ruined.
Doing his best Flame in a day where Flame had to watch from the back room.
Well, he's huge now, goes back, gets his Rod of Ages at 13 minutes, has 35 CS advantage.
Let's talk about effective item difference between him and Hippo, who has Swifties. Only.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good at all.
He's still going fast. He's got the Sonic approach, gotta go fast.
I don't think the Sonic approach works in League of Legends. Otherwise, we'd see more Rammus, maybe some more Doran's rings.
Spenu would be in a better state as well.
Yeah, definitely true.
Bit on the nose there.
Oh boy. Well, that'll be buff taken from the Rift Herald, and e-mFire see if they can actually take it. This turret on top is quite low, and that'll be a finisher up there. I didn't see who actually picked up the Herald.
I'm guessing it was Cuve.
No, that's not what you want at all. Hippo actually has the Herald buff.
Oh.
You probably don't want to be pushing very quickly when you were about to possibly get a freeze in the bottom side to catch up in terms of CS. This was the wrong decision.
I mean, we've seen junglers pick it up, so possibly could have gone worse.
I guess now you just don't have any control over a wave that was already headed your way. Well, I guess that's one way to stay 30 CS behind.
Ah, yes. Cultivating. Meanwhile, Cuve is like, I found a wave.
Look at this, it's pushing towards me. Meanwhile, we're going to take a dragon here, despite not having a whole lot of map pressure, but they've got enough on the bottom side and no vision right now from e-mFire.
That feel when you get a freeze and the objectives.
I hope that's the story of my life this weekend, Papa Smithy.
Oh, I see. Clever. Watch the NALCS live on this channel.
Coming up on Saturday.
I just want to see GBM. You probably don't want to see GBM.
No, I love GBM. What are you talking about?
We'll be in the same game as your team.
I know.
Possibly doing unspeakable things.
No. Well, back to Kuve's freezing. He's doing a really good job of role-playing an Ice Witch. I like it. Anytime you can inject some role-playing into League of Legends, I find it highly amusing.
Well, the lore is very robust, so you just expand on that with some solid role-playing.
Yep, slash dancing at appropriate times.
Hippo's building for the team. I mean, with how far he is behind, there was never going to be self-itemization. Oh, in the mid.
Yeah, Crown actually going to get jumped right here, but Wraith over the wall, able to stop it. There's a knock-up onto Edge, and can they follow this up? Culling is here, but the Lamb's respite is down. He's got to run. Nice knock-up coming through from Ambition. Edge is still alive somehow. Nice body block. Ambition pulled back under the turret. And will he actually fall? Yes, he will. Soul comes through.
They're still going.
And they're going to come through. There's the box right there with the ult on. Great turnaround from e-mFire, saving Edge at the very end. And Soul with the timely roam into the mid lane. Kuve, you have a teleport.
There's no freeze if he teleports.
Decides to push out as mid lane turret falls. So that will mean even gold, but not so even in that top lane matchup. Fortunately, a few assists for Hippo gets him somewhat back in the mix.
So we're going to see the replay. Remember, this whole time, Cuvée has teleport.
Yes, the whole time.
Doesn't find the time to teleport. Edge falls so low. You can understand going away from Just watch right at the end. Watch the flash coming in from Ambition. He goes for the knock-up. The heal comes through. He gets the heal, and then the Lantern Shield stops the burn from killing him. And then Ambition's just woefully out of position, and they take it from there as Cuvée the whole time on your minimap.
Yeah, so many hooks, too. See the chaining of the CC from Nautilus Hook into Thresh Hook, just keeping Ambition underneath the turret.
There's something apt about Cuvée, who's been dominating solo queue for a long time. Still, as we mentioned, has 2 accounts in solo queue above anyone on e-mFire, watching his team and not reacting to it, playing his own game. You can just see him at the end being like, what even happened this game? I was freezing great.
Yeah, did you see my CS advantage?
Flame Horizon's still a long way away.
It is, but he's working his way up there ever so slowly. 3 kills now to Soul, who's getting quite terrifying, hitting that 2-item Callista power spike. In a very good position to teamfight. He has a ton of protection to help him carry out in this one.
Worth knowing the Edge has given up on Frost Queen's claim, at least as far as we can see. He's gone for effective items, so he's actually battle ready, more so than his opponent, Graham.
Yeah, he will get his Abyssal soon enough, however.
Looks like National's Tooth, as expected, coming through for Edge.
Okay, so Cougar a little bit out of position. Will be found by Cuvée, and he's just going to die. Combo from Lysandra, who is this powerful already halfway through the Rod of Ages stacks.
But how is his wave doing? Is it frozen?
It is not, Bobby Smithy. Bad news, I'm afraid. And now a dive here. Edge, the target under the turret. Lamb's Respite is there, however. Wraith trying to take this one out, and Ambition has to retreat. They, again, can't quite get the finisher, and they don't actually do that much damage to the turret, but Edge on the recall. They've got another wave here in a few seconds, and I don't know if they're going to be able to take it out. There's seemingly sufficient wave clear now that the Runins is complete onto Soul.
But the preview we gave during Champions has pretty much come into full view. 2 team fights in a row. Getting through this tank line and killing someone through the Lamb's Respite has proved impossible for Samsung.
Yeah, very, very difficult. They get the pick, but they can't turn it into an objective, so 1 kill richer, but losing slowly the gold lead that they have accumulated. It's time for freezing.
The MVP here is definitely Soul on this Callista. Callista is a champion. While everyone's kind of partying in the Lamb's Respite, falling on low health, she can keep putting in those Ren stacks, and then the moment it stops, she's in a position to clean up a fight. So it's actually a really good synergy between that ability and just all the people getting into melee range of another person. If you can't just pick out Soul, kill this Callista at the start of a fight, feels like her cleanup potential is pretty damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so much crowd control, too, from e-mFire that you have to believe this Callista's never really going to be under threat. Now Soul does have the Herald buff and moving towards Cuvée, who is hoping for another freeze, but that has been read, and now hooks galore as Cuvée has to ult himself and try and take this one. And they are going to get a W onto Crush right here, but can they save the turret? Wraith very low, can't quite get killed by the Ren. What's the follow-up going to look like? The ghosts are there, they are spooky, but there isn't any pursuit.
Smart of e-mFire to back off. Notice on the minimap, still no Lamb's Respite. I believe it was about 3 or 4 seconds off cooldown. I think it might just be up right now, but very long cooldown because it's at level 1, so fighting without that would have been a bit reckless.
Yes, it would. So Edge here does pick up quite a bit of farm in the meantime and pushes it advantage forward with the Azir passive, keeping Samsung nice and bottled up. 3 seconds until Dragon, 2 already over to Samsung. They're the ones looking to continue that stacking this game, forcing these fights, but Edge in command of the mid lane wave right now, and everyone from e-mFire moving into the jungle. No, not too many wards yet. Gonna try and clear out this pink ward. Ambition tunneling out over to his blue buff, but they lose sight of most of these objectives. Cuvée does have TP, but it looks like they're just going to give this one up.
Worth noting that this game, because it's less solo kill potential, it's Crush face check by Ambition, does a lot of damage. It's a movement to lock it over Banner of Command.
Oh, there we go. Nice attempt for Cougar to go onto Wraith. Wraith actually just bouncing over the wall with a ward and a headbutt, and then getting his recall delayed by some wayward Raptors.
Big thing that Locket pickup tells me is that it's all about the team fights here for Hippo. A bit more proactive initiation role, and because there's burst from both top lane and mid, I think Locket's probably the smarter choice this game.
Nail on the head there. Kuve now going to find Crush, and there's the pick potential of this Lissandra. They pile on through, and there's one turret going down. How far are they willing to go? Edge and Soul getting some nice poke damage, and that will not entice Samsung to move any further down the lane.
Only the single objective. Nice pick coming through from Cuve. When he's grouped, honestly, the team looks good. He's got most of the team's gold, given that he spent so much time free farming, and he had a big level advantage, which has been reined back a little bit at this point. The golds, it's a couple of thousand gold advantage to Samsung, but the items that have been picked up by Hippo are team focused. So the team fights, I imagine, are going to be pretty close in a true 5-on-5 sense.
Yeah, but Kuve's still waiting to get the most out of this item. He is about 30 seconds away from fully stacking up his Rod of Ages. And once that item comes through with this Frost Queen's Claim, he's going to be in a very, very good spot. And kind of Lissandra prime time is he can continue to make these picks. He's gotten 2 important ones so far. He did get only the assist for them. There's the claim done. And Ambition going to get bounced around, but flashes over the wall and out of the box. e-mFire wants to finish off this very low HP turret, but the culling make that rather challenging. Soul just taking a bunch of damage on the front line. Kuve's here.
There's some lifesteal, so we can lifesteal back, but Samsung are doing a really good job of denying, ending this turret and the global gold that comes with that.
And there we go, mass recall from e-mFire. They fail in their mission to push forward and take some more control over the lane. Crush is here, but so is Wraith, and he's gonna have to dodge out of this. Grabs the crab, doing the crab grab before backing out. Hello, Edge gonna get knocked around, and now he's on the other side of his wall. Does get Lantern now, but Googer is gonna pay for it. So will Soul, who's caught out with the Lissandra ult right in the front line. Double kill for Core, who's going nuts, and now Crush delaying the inevitable merely as he falls for another kill for Core JJ, picking up a delayed triple, and that's going to be a Baron.
e-mFire file in slowly out of position, one by one, and the result is a resounding win for Samsung. The moment that Cuve started grouping, their initiation potential, even with all the peel and tankiness on e-mFire's side, has been undeniable, and they're going to pick up a Baron very comfortably off the back of another forced fight from Samsung.
Yeah, let's take a look at that one. See Edge. Whoops, that was a mistake too.
That was certainly a mistake.
Coming over blind.
He has the shield. He lives a long time, but this time goes down on the back end. Just e-mFire's all over the place. Crush comes around the back, still has ultimate, but isn't in a position to work with his carries. If this team is a 5-man stack with 2 tanks in the front and peeling backwards, it is powerful. But when it's in a sloppy scrimmage like this, they're found out in this particular regard.
Edge also had to use several of his abilities to get over that wall, and once he found Victor, Crown again just taking advantage of it. And Crown has been very good this series about recognizing outplay situations on Victor. To his credit, it has changed both of these games dramatically, and every time Crown outplays somebody, it's turned into a Baron.
Applying a lot of pressure again. Looking forward to picking up this outer turret in the bottom lane. Still even in turrets, so haven't been able to get a lot of that standing gold, so they're 7,000 gold ahead, and it's only going to grow as they push with this Baron.
Yep, powerfully moving forward on the map right now, looking for that first inhibitor. They have Lissandra in the top side. Kuve comfortable with TP up. Hippo has got a few minutes left on his, so all they have to do is wait right now and transition into the mid lane to take out all the remaining outers.
Hippo still really has the husks of some bigger items, only has Locket and Swiftness boots upgraded, really. Doesn't have much going on in terms of true late game items. Corday keeps poking out Edge, and e-mFire certainly on the back foot.
Here's another turret falling quite quickly. They have a wave, a cannon wave no less, but they are just going to move smoothly into that top side, help out Kuve, get the low-hanging fruit on the outside of the base in this game while they maximize their Baron power play, and they move to a very large lead of about 9,000 gold at 26 minutes.
All 3 outer turrets, and they're not done yet.
Getting what hits they can. to be quite a bit, although we do see Core taking a bit of unfortunate soldier poke.
Poking out. Samsung have all the control in this game. eMFire, so far in the ascendancy last game, even more to that extent this time is Samsung, and it looks almost unassailable.
Yeah, especially Samsung. They get the outer turrets. They have an opportunity to go get an easy dragon here in 20 seconds. Take what of the jungle they can. Ambition, getting a little ambitious there in terms of securing that red buff on an ult into the enemy jungle by himself. Thinks better of it, and now sets a sight on a more realistic objective here in the Dragon Rise and Spawns. We'll put him at number 3. So they have a backup plan to win this game should this massive gold lead that they have accrued not be quite enough.
I think it's more if they make some mistakes. It feels like Dragons will be on the plate every 6 minutes just because of the map control they've had consistently. Even if they throw a team fight or two, the Dragons should still be pretty academic, so it's very much a backup plan. If they're forced to, if in still 12 minutes time they're fighting for 5th Dragon, that's probably going to be a litany of errors from Samsung to not have picked up the win by then already.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Samsung now, no more Baron, but still looking to push in. Ambition trying to pressure the bottom side and move this wave forward. They have 2 at the base right now. Kuve, the man in charge of pushing that top lane all the way up. So 3-way split push. TP now up for Hippo, but global advantage will be up for Samsung once Ambition actually has his ult again.
And just in general, in every lane they have more than a 2-turret advantage, so this is minion changes in full display. In every lane, their minions are doing more damage to different degrees and taking less damage. The minions will continue to push regardless of where Samsung's sending their resources, and the flow-on effect of this is you're never able to deep freeze minion waves. They're always going to push. There's always going to be resources given over to eMFire, so starvation isn't really a win condition like it used to be, where SKT would ensure that you had access to no minion waves or your own jungle. Now you're always getting minion waves in the current patch.
Yeah, but you do have to defend against all the waves at once, and ever so slowly the chip damage is affecting these turrets. Core JJ once again taking a little bit of damage there from Azir. And actually does have to back off and recall after getting chunked. Everyone from Samsung heading back now. Not much accomplished on that last push, but they still maintain that same gold advantage.
But the minions are slowly coming to eMFire. They are slowly picking up gold, more so than they would in previous times. So when they have to make that emergency fight, it'll probably be from 8 to 10,000 gold behind rather than previously where it could have been 15 to 20,000 gold.
Still a lot to ask for. A minute and a half until the next barrier. It looks like Samsung just happy to wait that objective out. Nope, they're going to go for it. We do see the Lissandra in the back line. Great ultimate from Kuve, and nice follow-up on the knock-up from Wraith Soul, trying to hop his way out of this one, but he is one dead bunny as he is followed up. Oh, he may live. He was a slippery bunny after all. Meanwhile, Hippo walking north in the enemy jungle, trying to hook himself out of trouble. That's not going to be very successful either. eMFire with 1 man left on the Rift, and that means Samsung has the opportunity to push into some inhibitors.
Not sure if they can actually complete the game with all the chasing, specifically the best pusher on their team, Core JJ, did, but they'll try and finish. Looking at the death time, it's about 15 seconds, but only Soul and Guga to stop the push. So probably just going to be safe inhibitors from Samsung.
Oh, we have a few seconds left. Hippo, though, their front line out of commission, and no one there really to defend. Core gets hooked, but Core also will do the majority of damage now down on inhib number 2 and back off very safely. 24 seconds until Baron. Plenty of time to recall, get back to that objective. eMFire now fully spawned once again, but 2 globals. Ambition actually playing a little bit of defense there for Core, and draws just enough time to allow Core to back.
Baron's just about to spawn, but no realistic way for eMFire to fight for that objective with all the minion waves pushing. Now Baroned up minions, inhibitors down. In general, the minion wave push is just out of commission completely right now, so it should be a completely unanswered Baron from Samsung.
Yep. No crab control either for eMFire, so they don't have the guaranteed vision, sending a couple sentinels right now into the river, but those will be cleared out.
Juve's looking for teleport flank. Still in base.
Here we go. They want to fight. They want to force this one. They can just play the waiting game. There's no reason to do the Baron right away. Just wait for the pick. You have the inevitable minion wave crashing into the enemy base, and they don't see Nautilus. So no one there with a TP to actually defend against double minion waves. Cuvée, he's been very patient this game.
Lying in wait. Here he comes.
And there he goes, and they're going to lantern him out, but here comes this Lissandra. Beautiful ultimate. 5-man slow, and that'll just be chained into Wraith knockup. And that's going to be about it. Great combo and great initiation for Cuvée. That's the kind of play that he needed to have this game against this very protected carry composition of eMFire. And there it is, the ace as Crown comes through for the finisher, and that'll be it. No second Baron needed to take game number 2 as Samsung takes a 2-0 in their first series of 2016.
The textbook teleport flank on Lissandra. You could have told me it was Marin, I would have believed you. Such was the way that they both set up wards for him to teleport to and just the engage. That is why Lissandra frequently is banned or is taken her flex pick nature, and the fact that she is able to initiate despite being a burst mage. Really nice play from Cuvée, and hopefully a preview of his continued improvements over 2016.
Well, Wraith too. The follow-up on that Lissandra ult was absolutely gorgeous. Lissandra just bouncing the entire team up seemingly of eMFire, and very nice game from Samsung. A little bit of a slip up there, but for the most part just playing the map better, denying so much CS with the deep freezes from Cuvée.
And the eMFire had the control game 1. It was an individual outplay by Crown that gave Samsung that win. But game 2, good teamwork from Samsung, good warding, excellent flank engage to end the game. Samsung had so many issues with ending games last season. They and Jinair had the biggest problems at translating early advantages into winning games, so it's nice to see them stack the deck in that situation, get the smart flank, get the engage, and finish a game clean.
Yeah, and Core too, putting up a big stat line in that particular game, getting a pretty instrumental triple kill to take the first Baron and having generally nice positioning and use of the culling on Lucian.
I mean, Core JJ, he was in a Dignitas lineup that didn't do a lot of winning, but I think he was always a player that got the respect of other pros and also other fans. He always played his role. He never really stepped out. It was never really the reason the team was losing, and he looks like a very solid hand. He might not be Fury levels of carry, but maybe he's just the reliable AD that this Samsung lineup needs to function.
Yeah, and Core did most of his development. He was an amateur player here in Korea that was known mostly as a Varus one-trick pony before going over to Dignitas. But when I first saw him play, he did look promising. And he will indeed be your MVP of this game in his first series back in Korea as part of Samsung. He will take it MVP alongside Crown for that first game. And we'll take a look. Gorgeous culling. Very nice use of the dash to complete that on the other side.
This was more of an Edge blooper reel than necessarily a Core replay. He just used everything to get to the minion wave in time, not respecting Victor just pushing aggressively down the lane. And basically, the rest of that fight was off the back of a poor play by Edge.
Yeah, very unfortunate use of cooldowns blindly into Crown's Victor caused a knock-on effect that went to the first Baron of the game. But again, Core here, and Cuvée had some spectacular Lissandra ults this game and great engages too.
It's good to see Lissandra play to that level. Seen so much Lissandra this time, been a lot of bans though, so that makes sense. This initiation, wait for the one, but between Lissandra and then Wraith's like, I can get in there too.
Yeah, he can.
Boom.
Just goes right in for the combo, and meanwhile, Core JJ just shooting fish in a barrel from the side. Double kill for Crown on that burst, but great team fight from Samsung to close out game number 2. We are going to go into an MVP interview with George here to translate